Has your life changed since becoming a breeze champion? Mine certainly has. I'm Alison Lewis, and I became a champion in June 2012. And now, despite continuing to be in paid employment, breeze is woven into my everyday life. I'll show you how. From the moment the alarm clock goes off in the morning, I'm thinking about breeze. I'm obsessed by the weather forecast on the radio and how conditions might affect a breeze ride I've got that day or week. And when I open up my iPad, I'm sneakily checking SAM to see what participants' numbers are like for the next breeze ride coming up. As I step into the shower, I might reflect on the many places I've ridden in search of the perfect cafe stop for my breeze ladies. Here's one from a 30-mile breeze ride I ran last month, part of a series of training rides for women who have entered sportives or challenge rides this year. As I drink my morning cuppa and eat my porridge, I often scan the papers for notable events or anniversaries coming up. I like to find special reasons for an unusual breeze ride, whether it's fancy dress, bank holiday, or some religious festival. Last July, for example, I led a 100-kilometre breeze ride on the 7th of July, when RAFA got as many women all around the world riding 100 kilometres. Mine was one of 35 RAFA Women's 100 rides in the UK, and 4,000 women rode 100 kilometres on that one day, some on their own, but many in groups, such as mine. As I catch the train to work, I can get inspiration for a new breeze theme, route or marketing drive from something like the fold-up bikes next to me in the train carriage. Maybe I could have a breeze Brompton ride, or put a poster at the station, or canvass women as they park their bikes at the train station. Not all my ideas are a huge success, I have to say. I've put on several rides where no participants have booked, or not turned up on the day. This, for example, is the Brighton Naked Bike Ride, where Mandy, who's in the picture there in her jacket, and I wore our breeze jackets, but little else for the ride. We got the breeze brand on lots of YouTube videos, even if we had no participants riding with us. When I get to work and open up my emails, I'm always thrilled if there's one from the Central Breeze team. I take full advantage of the incentives they offer for putting on rides. So I've got 2 breeze hoodies and 2 buffs, a pair of Anna Nicola gloves and a few breeze water bottles. Here I am on one of the incentives offered to active breeze champions. It's the British Cycling Level 2 Ride Leader course I went on a couple of months ago in Southampton. I'm also partly qualified as a Level 2 mountain bike ride leader through Breeze, and I love opportunities that things like the Breeze conferences offer us. When it comes to lunchtime at work, it's often quite a solitary affair as my colleagues catch up with their social media, so I'm often just sat at my desk. It makes me think about some of the breeze rides I've led where I've incorporated a lunch stop rather than just cuppa and a cake. This was one of those post-ride breeze lunches, back in the autumn of 2012. I found a pub that did full Sunday lunch for just £5, next to a train station and in an area with lots of quiet country lanes. We welcomed the non-riding partners and children of our breeze ladies to join the lunch, and as you can see, it was a real success. My meetings at work often take up the whole afternoon. When I get a bit bored of the business in hand, I turn my attention to any women in the meeting. I'll often be found in the coffee break telling the women about Breeze and encouraging them to book online for rides local to them. I've found that word of mouth and regular riders can be the most reliable way to get Breeze rides filled. This was a hugely popular ride, so we had 3 Breeze champions there. I'm at the back in my red jacket, Mandy's in the middle, and Sally was at the front taking the photograph. When it comes time to leave work and head for home, I've always got an eye on the weather and long for this time of year when the evenings are lighter for longer. Since weekends can be busy with my breeze rides and other cycling volunteering that I do, evenings are good for risk assessing potential new routes. This was one of those evenings back in my first year as a breeze champion. A local bike hire shop had maps of rides around the South Downs, so I used one of those maps as a basis to recce and risk assess a route. As you can see, it went past windmills and was very popular because of the things we saw on the ride. I repeated it about 4 times through all weathers. Once I get home from work or a recce ride, then I usually have to get on with some chores around the house and catching up with phone calls to friends and family, sometimes at the same time, as you can see. In reality, though, I sometimes leave the housework and phone calls in favour of getting some marketing paperwork done or putting new rides up on SAM. One recent breeze ride that attracted lots of publicity was only a few Saturdays ago. This was the ride to the Brighton Amex football stadium with free tickets to see England's women's football team play a World Cup qualifier match against Montenegro. Part of this was a successful partnership with Brighton's bike train, who escorted our group across the city. By the time I go to bed, my head is full of new ideas for breeze rides, plans for ways to keep breeze participants coming back for more, and mental images of all the wonderful women I've been privileged to ride with through the Breeze network. Here I am with some of those wonderful women, mainly fellow Breeze champs. It's before the start of Cycletta New Forest Sportive in October 2012, and it was the first ever Sportive I'd ever ridden. I now count several fellow Breeze champions among my close friends, and continue to feel both supported and challenged to keep doing more as a champ. That was my personal day from start to finish, and how being a Breeze champion has become woven into my daily life. I wonder if you recognise any of it for yourself, or whether your experience as a Breeze champion is very different. If you're with someone, turn to the person sat next to you and say a bit about your experiences becoming a Breeze champion.